If you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to upgrade your current one, you might want to get your notepads out, because in this video, I'm going to give you tips that will save you thousands of dollars in the long run. Welcome back to Andrew Blair Fishing, everybody. If you're new to the channel, we do a lot of kayak content, some fishing, some gear reviews. In today's video, we are in the office, so that means we're going to be spewing some knowledge on how to save you guys some money, how to pick the correct kayak, to include a kayak that is worth your build that you have envisioned in your head, and also some other things to consider when you're looking to buy a kayak that you may not think about in the buying process. Without further ado though, let's get into the tips. They're not in any particular order. These are just things to consider when buying, so get your notepads out. Sit back, relax, and I hope you learned something. Before we get into the tips though, peep the hoodie. As you guys know, I've been calling kayaks Tupperware, floaty boats, plastic, watercraft for a little while now, having fun with it. Most of you know I love kayak fishing very much, and I have a habitual problem of buying multiple kayaks because I like to rig them out and build them. But there's a lot of tips and factors that went into the buying process early on when I first started that I didn't really consider until I had bought 8 to 10 kayaks. And the first and foremost thing is obviously going to be your budget. When you're planning your builds out and you're looking for a kayak, obviously money is a thing. That's how we purchase these items. So what I would do before you even start getting into the realm of, ooh, that one looks cool, I want it, plan out your build. Decide what you want to do with your kayak. Are you looking for a pedal-driven kayak? Are you looking for a motor kayak? Are you looking for a paddle craft? And then what accessories go with those items, and roll it into a budget plan of what kayak you can actually afford. Now, I know there are a lot of deals out there, layaway. You can order and pay later with a firm at Eco Fishing and some other places. You can finance at your local kayak shop. That's fine. The number one thing I didn't really do when I first started was I bought the kayak and then I went to rig. Then once I bought my kayak, I realized, oh, this build doesn't work on this kayak. It doesn't. Certain motorized builds and the plans that I had wasn't really functional in the kayak that I had at the time. So inevitably, I sold that kayak and bought a new one. So obviously the tip number one is plan out the future build. If you're looking to do a motorized build for open water and certain fisheries like that, you want to make sure you have the kayak to do so. No offense to Ascend or any of those other lower budget sit-on kayaks, but they're not really set up to rig as say a Bonafide or another platform of that nature would be. Like I said, I spent $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on at least 2 to 3 kayak builds that in the end I was like, nah, this ain't it. And I ended up flipping them. Luckily for me, I got most of my money back, but you may not have the local kayak community to be able to flip a kayak and get into a new one quickly without eating a lot of the money cost. Now, if you're just looking to go out and paddle and look for a very good tracking, efficient kayak, make sure you are getting to a local shop and demo testing these boats. We talk about demo testing all of these platforms before you even decide to buy, because what looks cool on the internet and what looks cool in a YouTube video or social media may not even fit your body style. I'm 255 pounds, 6'2". A lot of the cool platforms that I found when I first started just didn't work for me. And it sucked because I had bought a kayak that I thought was good and would suit my needs because I saw someone that looked my size on it. Lo and behold, it was uncomfortable. My back was hurting because I did not demo test the kayak. Now, I don't have a kayak shop near me. Okay, that's fine. I get it. Pump the brakes. If you have a local kayak community, a local kayak bass fishing club, a local kayak anything, post in it. Ask if someone has the kayak that you're looking for. You'd be really surprised with all of the popularity of kayak fishing. A lot of people have had or own most of the popular brands that we're looking at purchasing. I know specifically in my area, there's a whole bunch of people that have the Native Titan that I was looking at. I was also able to demo it. So if I couldn't get a demo boat, I was absolutely going to meet up with somebody to try theirs out, because $3,500 is a lot of money to spend if you've never even sat on it. Think about like a car. You test drive cars, You go sit in them, you see if it has enough room for you before you buy it. Well, it's not a car, it's a piece of Tupperware that we call a fishing kayak, but it's the same principle. So demo testing, hitting up your local anglers to see if they have that boat, sit in it, stand on it, take a look at how it's rigged, take a look at the storage options to make sure it fits your needs. Those are all things you can do without even purchasing the boat. So one of the factors that really limited me when I first got into kayak fishing was transportation and storage. Now, I was in the military when I first started kayak fishing, and I knew that for me, I'd be having to travel every 4 years or so, right? 2 to 4 years. So when I was looking for my first kayak, I knew inevitably I would have to transport it and ship it. I had to find kayaks that'd be safe on the back of a truck bed, on top of a car if I needed to, and I could move with the platform and not have to pay for extra shipping. Because if you guys know, freight costs an arm and a leg, and you don't want to ship a kayak when you PCS move. So the transportation aspect for me was huge, right? Could I put a bed extender on the back of my truck and transport this kayak to the lake, to the river, to a pond, or if I'm moving her a long distance? That had to meet my criteria. I also knew that certain size kayaks wouldn't fit in my garage. Me personally, I don't like storing my kayaks outside, bloating, weather conditions, it's plastic, I don't trust it. So garage kept or keeping inside in a basement was something that I basically had to factor in when I was purchasing my first kayaks. Now on the flip side, here we are 6-7 years later, I have a native Titan. I opted to get it even though I do not have a trailer. And there are some reasons for that. I have the opportunity to store it in my garage. I can transport it on the back of my truck, no problems. And 90% of the lakes I'm fishing now have easy soft launch access that I don't really need a trailer to drop the kayak into the water. But that being said, I do have back problems, right? So when I was looking to purchase certain platforms in the past, I stayed away from them. They were too heavy, too hard to drag around, but we've moved since then. That leads me into the next point. Where are you fishing? We see a lot of kayaks that excel in certain areas. Rivers, big lakes, choppy ocean water, small ponds. You want to make sure that what you're buying really fits your fishing, right? Maybe you have people that you see on YouTube that are fishing near you, right? Santee Cooper is a popular lake, so there are hundreds of content creators that make content on Santee Cooper. So when I see their conditions, I see the rough water, I see what kind of kayaks they're in or boats, right? I can kind of get an idea if those kayaks can handle it or if they're made for it. But what you don't want is to get your heart set on a kayak that is overkill for what you're doing or underkill. Taking a kayak that is not efficient in a river could absolutely cost you your life. And I say this with everything in me because I've been there. I bought the kayak I thought could do everything. It could not handle a river. So if you're primarily fishing fast-moving rivers or skinny creeks and you're not comfortable with portaging a 160-pound Titan, don't do it. Buy the kayak that's made for the fishing you're doing. Now I understand there are people like me that kind of fish everything, right? I fish small ponds, I fish lakes, I do want to fish rivers again, and I do plan to fish saltwater again. So you have to make your compromise. What are you going to be fishing more? For me, it's larger lakes with heavier chop. I needed the Titan, right? Going to be doing a lot of punching, frogging, stand up, needs to be stable, lots of storage to be on the water all day, good compartments to house my batteries for my build, for my motor. But on the inverse, if I was fishing a river primarily, I would want to go a little lighter, a more nimbler, better tracking kayak for paddling. Probably wouldn't motorize like I am now. And overall, the needs of the kayak would have to be drastically different, lighter for dragging, and easily transported and slid down whatever bank line, soft launch I'm looking at doing for a river. Now, there's a part of this that is inevitable if you move or if you decide to fall in love with a different style of fishing, right? And that kind of happened to me. I was up in Maryland. I did a lot of shallow water, river, snakehead fishing style stuff. And the Bonafide PWR and SS127, they handled it. They did great. Well, I've since moved to South Carolina. I had the Jackson Coosa X, a Jackson Coosa FD, back to a PWR, now in a Titan. And the reason I shifted so much is because for that year and a half that I was here, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to inshore fish and pick that up. I didn't know if I wanted to go west out to the Broad River and hit rivers again looking for smallmouth, or if I would fall in love with Santee Cooper and fish deeper water than I normally did up north. So it took about a year and a half, like I said, to figure out what style of fishing I wanted to do because I moved. So all the platforms that I had up in Maryland did not fit my needs down here. So obviously I looked to purchase a new one. And that's where you roll right back into the demo testing, asking questions to your local kayak community, and doing what you can to try those kayaks out before you even spend the money on it. And you end up having to sell it and eat $1,000 or $2 because let's just face it, reselling a kayak, you don't get your money back, just like a car. So without talking about money too much, we did touch on budget. And the reason I want to talk about this a little more in depth is because when I first started kayaking, I would just randomly add accessories on the go, right? So like there was little cost here, here, here. And 90% of the time, the accessories you add to these kayaks, you can transfer to another one. So that's why it's not really a huge deal. But what is a huge deal is the layout of the kayaks you're looking at, right? If you're doing kayak catfishing and you need rod holders out back, you need to make sure it has the track space and the weight capacity to put all the accessories on it you need, right? Same thing with if you're looking to use forward-facing sonar and all these graphs. You need to make sure there's storage for your black boxes, for your external batteries, enough track for your screens that you're not overly modifying your kayak and adding so much weight that you're over the capacity of the kayak itself. So when you're looking to transfer your stuff to a new one or to buy a new one for the first time, kind of put that in your head of, is my accessory build out going to fit this kayak that I'm looking to buy, right? Because myself, I kind of keep the same build in every kayak that I do because I like shallow water fishing, but I need graph and optics, right? To find subaquatic vegetation for mapping and things of that nature. Now, touching back on something we just mentioned, weight capacity. This is probably one of the most overlooked things in a kayak, right? So capacity as a whole, and we're not going to talk about a specific brand, but when you see a weight capacity on a kayak of say 450 pounds, if it is not outlined on the manufacturer's website that the weight of the rig kayak is included in that capacity or excluded, that needs to be specified. And hear me out. We'll take the Native for example. The Titan rigged out is about 160 pounds without the drive. The weight capacity is 500 pounds. That's including the weight of the kayak itself. So you need to subtract the 160 from the 500. That's leaving you with 340 pounds of usable capacity, okay? And I'm talking about this because my build and your accessories you want to put on that kayak may not fit the kayak you're looking to buy, right? Let's just say I weighed 250 pounds. We know we have 340 pounds of usable capacity. Let's take 250 from that. We're sitting at 90 pounds. 90 pounds of capacity left to accessorize, okay? And it seems like a lot, but it's really not when you get into it. Now, I'm not gonna get into the science of the buoyancy of a motor in the water, right? But let's just, for this video, add 20 pounds for a battery, 30 pounds with a loaded black pack with all your tackle, right? You're sitting at 40 pounds of capacity left. Now, if you go over the weight capacity, is it gonna kill you? I'm not gonna say yes or no, but I try to stay around it or under, right? So let's add a cooler full of refreshments, maybe weigh 20 pounds. You see where I'm going with this? So make sure when you're planning out your builds, include your weight, check the weight capacity of the kayak you're looking at, right? If it's not on the website, message the manufacturer and ask. They will tell you. Most of them are displayed on the website. That usable weight, you have to subtract the kayak weight from the capacity weight, okay? So that's just one of the factors that I did not really look at when I started. And I overcapacitated my feel-free Moken, okay? Took on a little water, it was a little sluggish, wasn't paddling right, not safe, okay? Sold it, got another kayak. So when you're looking to plan your builds out, when you're looking to purchase a kayak, include your weight, include the kayak weight just to be safe, right? And find a weight capacity kayak that's going to fit your needs. Because in harsh conditions, the kayak is not going to perform as intended if you overcapacity it and it's above its mechanical capabilities. So those are just like some side, right? We got weight capacity, accessorizing, we have our storage, we have our transportation, right? The fishing that you're doing, these are all factors that go into it before you even buy anything. That's what I look at. What am I doing with this kayak? How am I going to get it there? How am I going to rig it, right? Is it too much weight? Can it fit me? The next thing I'll basically just touch on quick is shop around, right? And I obviously stress checking out local kayak shops, okay? If you don't have one near you, there are some shipping options from manufacturers, from online retailers, right? That can assist you with that. But for me, I think shopping local, or at least contacting a local dealer, you'll probably get some more incentive to purchase, right? If you're uncomfortable with rigging your kayaks, they'll give you the input you need for it and help you rig it. Look out for local club memberships. If you are in kayak clubs, a lot of local dealers near me at least have some incentive pricing for club members in the local kayak community. Every smaller shop that I've ever dealt with seems to get more personal in the purchase, right? And what I mean by that is they're going to ask you more questions than an online retailer would. They don't say, where are you fishing? What do you plan on doing with this kayak? You just add it to cart and buy it, right? A lot of these local shops have experts in the industry or are connected to other experts in the industry that can get you information you need. There are also a lot of group pages, kayak fishing dads, kayak fishing freaks. A lot of those pages are super popular to ask questions. People will chime in, give you unbiased information to help you find the right answer to your question. Now, if you are going to go to those pages, I will suggest you go up to the search bar and search your question first, because I guarantee you someone has asked it before and you won't get harassed by the comment section. I've been there. It's not fun. And obviously, check YouTube. There are creators out there that have done fantastic work reviewing a whole bunch of different kayaks, even if they don't own them, to give you unbiased perspective. So that way when you're going to test out or buy your kayaks or get rigging ideas, you already have them in your back pocket and you'll have a parts list, because most of them link parts in the description of all their videos. When it comes to the kayak fishing industry, we are getting to the months right now. It is February 2026, whenever you're watching this, where I'm getting a lot of questions about what kayak should I get. It's one of the most asked questions I get in all of my content. Will this kayak work for me? How should I rig this kayak? How should I build out this kayak for this place? Or, hey, have you used this kayak before? Can you tell me about it? And the first question I ask is, what is your plan with the kayak? Where are you fishing? Where are you from? Do you plan to pedal, motor, or paddle? Those are the first things I ask any single person. And if you're one of those people, you can drop a comment and confirm that, because without that information, it's really hard to steer someone in the right direction for a kayak that's going to fit their needs and not make them regret a purchase. Now, part of this is inevitable, right? Like, if something new comes out, something new comes out. I bit on a PWR the day they released it. I put a deposit on one, okay? And the thing I'll say about that is if it looks like, if you know enough about similar platforms and it looks like it's gonna like fill the hole, the gap that you had on another kayak, absolutely go for it. But generally speaking, just like with a new car, you kind of want to wait a little bit to get some reviews on it first to see how people are rigging it. Because if you're not in a financial position to just buy and flip kayaks, it might be a mistake that will be hard to get out of. And the last thing you want to do is regret buying something and regret selling something else. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you picked up some tips that can help you or a friend pick your next kayak or upgrade one that you currently have. Let me know in the comments section if you've made any mistakes in the kayak purchasing process or boat, because this all goes for the same deal. I look forward to seeing what you guys type down below. Make sure you guys stay safe on the water, and I'll see you on the next one. For now though, enjoy the Tupperware.